Hello and welcome back to my garden. Lots of things happening at the moment. In between the hot weather being March here, it's supposed to be autumn, but still we are sitting in temperatures in the mid to high 30s. So lots of jobs are being put on hold, like getting new crops out into the garden, as it's just probably a little bit too hot for them. But I am trying to get some other things done, clearing some beds, getting them prepped for those new season crops that will go in eventually, sowing some seeds, and also doing a few things. Got my umbrella up on the old pawpaw that I showed last week. It's still, I think it looks a little bit better now that I'm shading it a bit from that harsh sun you can see right there. Hopefully in the next few weeks those temperatures are going to start dropping. Fingers crossed anyway. But if you are new here, welcome. My name is Michael. I love all things gardening, specifically fruit and veggie gardening. So if that's something that you're into, you are in the right place. Now, let's get growing. If you watched my last video, you would have seen me clear this bed. It did have all my corn in it. There's a couple that have popped up on the other side. I'm going to get rid of those now. But I'm going to add some compost to this bed, and I will let that sit probably for the next week while it's still warm, and then it should be good and ready for planting out some new things. I've left this tomatillo in because it looks pretty happy, and it's got the little, what would you call those little lanterny husks where the fruit appears, well, it doesn't appear, grows inside of. So it must be very happy at the moment, although I stupidly planted it here. I shouldn't have planted it here because it does turn into a whole ass bush. But I don't know, should I leave it in or should I rip it out? It's on the edge. I could leave it and just plant around it. I tried to stake it up a bit because it was going a little bit crazy. What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments. Rip it out or leave it where it is? Let me know what you think. Anyway, I did pull out some extra bits of corn. So I'm going to do a bit of chopping and dropping. I did a reel about it the other day, the old chop and drop. It's something I haven't really done before because I try and compost most things. But composting does take a while. So it's a lot of it sitting and waiting in the compost bins. So a good alternative is to do the old chop and drop, where you just chop the bits and leave them on the ground for them to break down where they are. And I thought I'm going to start doing it a whole bunch more in my little food forest area here, just to try and amend the soil, because the soil itself is pretty horrible. So things that I'm pulling out, especially some of the old summer crops, are just going to get the old chop and drop, and I'll let them break down where they are. I've got my little pineapple guava here that I planted probably a year or so ago. So this is where I'm going to just put some of those bits to just break down at the base. It's also got a few shoots here coming up from the base that I want to just cut off. Eggplants. This eggplant is doing well. A couple of little baby ones in there still that I will let grow on a little bit longer. But still very happy, and heaps of flowers coming up. The problem about this hot weather is my poor seedlings in here are struggling. It's 42 degrees in here at the moment. I'm trying to keep my seedlings alive. I might have to take them out of the greenhouse for the next few weeks, I reckon, or the next week at least. Whew. I feel the sweat beading on my forehead already. I tell you, I've bought a couple of passion fruits. It's for my new beds going out in the back area near the chicken coop. Panama Gold and a Panama Red. I'm very excited to plant those. Not just yet though. This was my tray that I sowed my cool season, my winter flower seeds in. And I've got some cornflower coming up and some pansies coming up. But I've had some rats in here. My sweet peas and my nasturtiums have been eaten. I assume it's rats. I've just been finding the husks of the big seeds. So the sweet peas are like peas, and just the husks are left and little dig marks in them. So that is a little bit frustrating. I've had to resort to covering it up at night to try and stop them getting into my seeds. I might need to sow some more sweet peas and nasturtiums. But the others, the poppies, oh, I think there's some poppies. They look tiny little seedlings popping up. This is my favourite little sprayer. It's automated. You can just put your water in here and then you just push the button and it sprays. Perfect for a light little spray to try and not disturb the seeds too much. I bought some seedlings the other day, some leeks. What else did I buy? They were alliums, spring onions and chives, all part of the allium family. But I'm going to plant those in my little beds, which are a little bit closer to the house. So let's go and do that now. Leeks are one of those plants that I always seem to just buy from the nursery as seedlings like this. I don't know why. I think it's easier to get them to grow. I've not had much luck sowing leeks from seed. But I do have a little hack in planting them from seedling. Before you plant them in the ground, you don't want to put them in as one big clump like this, because each one of these is an individual leek. So you do want to try and separate them out so they're going to grow to their fullest and best size that you can get them. What I like to do is grab a little bowl of water, and then you take your little cell of leek, just try and flick off as much of the dirt as you can, the soil, potting mix, and then just stick it into that bowl of water. After a few minutes, gently tease the roots. Try and get all that potting mix off. Definitely curled themselves around in this one. And then just gently teasing each leek apart. Come on. Bit of extra roots and come off. And then you can plant them individually. You've got 3 leeks there that you can plant separately. You only need to plant them about 10 centimeters apart. My little label that I'm using is a dibber. Just pop each one in there. Beautiful. This is a good little trick to do if you also purchase something like onions as seedlings. They'll be bunched together like the leeks are. And obviously onions get quite bulbous, so you do want them to be separated. So it's a good way to make sure you get some good size onions by separating them individually and planting them in the ground. Alliums are a waiting game though. Most of them, your leeks and your onions and your garlics as well, it can be up to a 6-month wait before you're going to be able to harvest them and utilize them in the kitchen. So you just got to remember that when picking some space in your garden. I want to show you what I discovered here on my mandarin tree when I was having a little wander around. A whole bunch of caterpillars. These are the swallowtail caterpillars, which particularly love citrus. There's another one there. Can't see it. They like to feed on citrus plants. And whilst they're not bad, this mandarin is still quite small, and having 1, 2, 3, 4 that I can see on here is probably not the best for the mandarin. So I think I'm gonna pick them off and move them to one of my big citrus plants at the back. Get in there. Another one. They've got little silks on them. Get in the bowl. There's another one in here. Now, to see if I can get them. Climb on there. Climb onto my orange tree. Yes. Well, thank you for joining me in the garden today. I hope you've enjoyed wandering around and helping me out. If you have, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you next week. Bye.